God damn. All Elite Wrestling, Double or Nothing. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do a quick review. You got Stoney, you got Mav, and you got myself, JK. What a fucking show that was.
Hell yeah.
I almost feel like they should have called this one All or Nothing because they were literally all fucking out on this one, dude. They pulled out all the stops. They gave zero fucks, first of all. I think we need to start with the amount of fucks that were given or the lack thereof. And I'm referencing the throne that was destroyed in such beautiful fashion by Cody Rhodes.
Oh
such an amazing sequence. We were all sitting there watching this, and I'm looking at these guys like, is he gonna grab a sledgehammer and fucking break this thing? And 5 minutes later, no less, there it is. Just fucking shit, man. And if you don't know what that means to the wrestling industry, you need to go check yourself real fast because goddamn, the war has begun.
There was a lot of symbolism in this show, and that one I think was the most poignant. That one was the everybody marking out saying, oh shit. And the first thing that was cool was I was telling the boys and girls last night, like, listen, at first he just looked at it and walked away, which I thought would have been real cool. Like, you're not even a threat to us. And then they did the whole thing with Brandy handing him the sledgehammer and him crushing the Triple H throne. I popped. I thought it was sick. I will say, I got to say this, and I'm probably going to say this a few times. They took a few shots last night at WWE, which I'll agree that is fine for now, because when your company has zero history because it hasn't even started TV yet, you have to make history. You have to make moments. I get that. This didn't come off as petty to me. This came off as, we're the new competition. This is what it is. And, I just hope that this is kind of like the one and done. Like, this is the big firing shot against WWE. And then we just keep going on with history.
It was basically just a big fuck you and we're not afraid of you. And here we are,
Yeah, I also really liked that Brandy handed him the sledgehammer because, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that Steph normally hands Triple H his.
A lot of the times, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was crazy.
And
that blew my fucking mind.
I like how she said break it down, too. So
she did?
Little things.
Yo.
I didn't catch that. But damn.
I didn't catch it last night, but I watched some replays, and when you hear her say that, you're like, oh, shit.
Dude, that was insane. That absolutely blew my mind. And the amount of moments that they nodded to WWE in a negative light was brave, but also needed. And just, I'm so happy it happened. Like, I think we were all thinking they might. And everyone, I think AEW fans in general, wrestling fans in general, thought they might do something like that. But we were like, maybe not. I mean, it's too soon. It's early on. Maybe they want to establish themselves first. They keep saying there's no war. They keep saying there's no competition. But then they did that shit and everyone lost their minds. They knew doing something like that would pull the fans in hard and keep them roped in for the fall when TNT premieres.
Absolutely. And, I was saying this a few podcasts ago. You have to start building history. You have to start building things that are going to lead to TV. And overall, I think they, especially with like the last segment, which obviously we'll get to, but I think they built a few running themes, a few running stories that they can carry into Fight for the Fallen, and hopefully are going to carry over into October when this starts up. But yeah, this I think was a great opening shot for them. This was a great... Number one, it was a great pay-per-view. Let's just put it out there. If anyone's complaining about the price that you had to pay, go pay it because it's so fucking worth it. It's great.
Yeah.
And I don't think it came off as petty, any of these shots. If they keep taking these shots, yeah, they're going to keep making it look like, oh, we're just WCW or TNA, just pitching shots at the big guy. But if this was just the establishment shot, great. I'm fine with it. You need to build history. And where no history exists, you make it. Such as in that match with Cody and Dustin. Holy shit. What a match. How much blood was there?
Too much blood.
Yeah, he busted himself open, but good. Enough to where they could recreate that Bret Hart Stone Cold shot, as Stoney pointed out.
Oh my God. I think that was a highlight of the match for me, just seeing that one spot. But like, goddamn, You could see that these guys have so much chemistry together. Just obviously being brothers, but just like the what they were able to do in the ring, the way they were able to tell that story was unfucking believable. And then you have what happens afterwards, where it looks like Cody's gonna get back in the ring and attack, and he asked for a microphone and made a fucking awesome announcement. God damn.
Just
we're getting the Brotherhood versus the Bucks at the next AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, I just before Cody even started to speak, holding the microphone, Dustin was already sobbing. Like, I mean, just sobbing. It was absolutely insane to watch. It was emotional, and it made you feel something for sure. And they do a great job. And Cody truly, I mean, if you don't believe that Cody is more than what he was in WWE as Stardust, I mean, at this point you do. I mean, he proved himself tenfold last night that he is way more than any expectation that anyone has set for him in the past 10, 15 years. I mean, wow. He is going to do fantastic things at the helm of this company. I mean, it blew my mind, frankly.
And this was one of the matches, I was talking to some people online about this. There was a match for every kind of flair, every kind of wrestling fan. And this one was really a story-based match. You know, you could feel the history with them from them being brothers. You could feel that Dusty's presence was in the air through that whole match. You could feel that this was going to lead to something more. And I do want to bring up a prediction I have for later in the year. I think that Cody beating Dustin was great. I think he asked him to be his partner. They're going to partner up, and then Dustin's going to turn on him, and he's going to be like, okay, cool, you beat me up, you bloody me up, and you expect me to be your tag team partner? They're going to get to the match, and Dustin's going to turn on him, and that's going to lead into some sort of feud going forward, maybe for TV or through one of these other events they have coming up. But the other point I want to bring up, Dustin Rhodes as Goldust was great. Dustin Rhodes as Dustin Rhodes here has a brand new life breathed into him that I don't think he could have explored with WWE. Again, not a dig on it, just a fact. You were this character. This is what you had to do. Now as Dustin Rhodes, he can explore a whole different world, which I think we saw last night. Like this fighter, this guy who's got one last thing to prove. It was crazy.
Absolutely. It was just even seeing how much he was bleeding in it and just keeping, because we were talking about this last night, that that we were getting concerned for him. We were getting nervous that it was too much blood and that he was starting to, get really faint and maybe they should call someone. But then JK made a good point, and the two of us, I think all of us were talking, and JK said, if anyone would know when to stop, it's Dustin Rhodes. I mean, he's been in the industry for a long time. He knows when his limits are. He probably will push past them to a point, but he'll know when it's unsafe to keep wrestling, and he'll know when to raise his hand and to finally give up. And boy, did they put on a show that, you're right, it told a story. It got you heavily involved. It got you holding your breath at some moments. I mean, even just, and it wasn't like, flippy shit. It wasn't a ton of like really crazy, awesome wrestling moves and people jumping on other people's shoulders. It was all core storytelling. That was what the heart of this match was. It was just old-fashioned wrestling, really well done move sets, and good, solid storytelling to build a good foundation of a good wrestling match. It was just, and that's one match of the night. There are so many other matches that we could go on for hours about. I mean, that's just one. I mean, this pay-per-view was dynamic. It blew any expectation out of the water. I mean, it was mind-blowing. I can't even, I said this last, go ahead.
Sorry, here's what I really like about it though, is that no match felt like a throwaway match. Right, every
absolutely.
match had fucking purpose. You knew every match, pre-show, regular show, didn't matter. Every match had implications for what we're going to see in the future with this company. And that's what means a lot to me, is that it wasn't just like, here, we're going to throw matches out there to shut you guys up and fill the card with shit. Everything was purposeful. And that is such a huge indication of what these guys are going to be capable of when they have a bigger, consistent platform to work on like TNT.
And I want to bring that up too, because especially with the four-way dance, which was supposed to be a three-way dance for the women, but turned into a four. It was Kylie Rae, it was Britt Baker, it was I'm not going to say Nyla Rose. I wasn't going to say the last name yet because it was a surprise because they wanted this match to be awesome, and Awesome Kong walks out onto the stage. My only thing about it is I wish Awesome Kong would have gotten a little bit more time and Nyla Rose. I get it though. The match was great, and like you said, it was a match to establish the talents you're going to continue to see on TV. I hope that Awesome Kong is now contracted. I don't know if she is. That would be a great addition to the roster. But I can't take anything away from Kylie Rae. I wasn't a big fan of hers before time. You see her come out smiling, very much like what we've come to know, like a Bayley character. But when she was in the ring, she was intense. She was flying around. And when she would sell amazingly too. Britt Baker taking the win on that match, totally fine. I guess we could kind of expect that. But again, great match, great storytelling there. Yeah, I got nothing to say.
We've literally had the opportunity with this pay-per-view to see the establishment of every division basically that they're going to have. We saw the women's division, we saw the tag team division, we saw the heavyweight division, we saw all the important parts that are going to make this fucking machine work, and it's going to be sick.
Yeah.
I'm still rolling off the high from the way that show ended though, because goddamn. I think we just need to just get right into it and talk about it because what the fuck.
We're gonna backtrack a little bit. We're gonna go back and talk about some other stuff afterwards. But let's just talk about the ending. Okay, we're gonna talk Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega. Number 1, great match. Number 2, I didn't even know they made tables like that. Number 3, fucking kudos to Kenny Omega for going through that. And number 4, Chris Jericho got cut open by that table on his hand. God damn, those are not WWE tables. Those are not sawed off in the middle. Those are not like the tables that you would see at like the parent-teacher conference Oh my God.
Dude, Kenny wrestled that match with a broken fucking nose after like 3 minutes in. He wrestled through the whole match. It was a 26-minute match. Like what?
Yeah.
That man made for great.
And Jericho is just the ultimate heel. Like I feel like this is so much better than any version of Jericho we ever saw on WWE TV. And now you get to see the true heel Jericho that we've always wanted and always needed.
I tend to agree with you on some points of that. I think Jericho as a heel against Shawn Michaels is probably my favorite heel version. But I think this is him taking that and going into a place where he can say more. He could be a little bit more raw. And don't get me wrong, he was at that time in control of that character, apparently. Vince let him kind of run the reins with that, him and Shawn. But this is him taking that character and adding more of like that rock flair to it, more of, you know, what you saw in New Japan. So now he's able to say whatever the fuck he wants. He's able to do whatever he wants. My only critique, the Judas elbow. I would have loved to have seen him win the code breaker. The code breaker looked awesome. I get you're trying to get that move over.
On Stoney's point that this is better than any version of Jericho we've seen before. And he showed that by coming out with his entrance with all his different gimmicks throughout the years and coming out as himself. And he even, I mean, like, you want to talk about he's now able to do more shit. He flipped the crowd off. Like, he can do whatever he wants now. Like, there is pretty much, and I think that's one of his driving and selling points to joining AEW is because, is that now he can go kind of off the cuff. He can say what he wants. He can do what he wants. There's no limit. There's no, hey, actually drive the conversation toward this route or do this or don't say that. It's literally just like, I can say fuck you if I want and no one's going to say boo. I can bleed. I can really be the full potential of my character.
Absolutely. And Inside the Ropes did a conversation with the Young Bucks talking about like what are the implications of this show on some of those ranking things that you were talking about. You know, the Battle Royal, do all those guys not get a shot at the title? They were like, well, number one, that match was phenomenal too. Luchasaurus putting motherfucker through a table. Listen, goddamn. And we're going to get to MJF in a second too. But they basically said, well, you know, this also is going to play into the ranking system. They asked how. Well, they said, well, Kenny Omega's not getting a championship match. You know, they basically came out and said that. They were just like, look, Kenny's got to earn the shot just like everybody else does. So it's really cool to see that even though they don't have those things that they talked about in place yet, they're not playing favorites. And there were people online that were just like, oh, okay, cool, AEW put this show together just to put their boys over. No, not at all. Because even though the Young Bucks, in a fantastic match, retained the AAA championships, even though Cody won against Dustin, Kenny Omega, the fucking best bout machine, lost clean to the Judas Effect, which is a reverse elbow, just so we all know. But yeah, that's what happened. It was fucking crazy. And the Young Bucks are already saying, look, you have to win your matches or you're not getting title shots. That's cool. And I can appreciate that they're starting to build that ethos now.
That's how wrestling needs to be, though. Wins and losses need to matter. You can't tell a good story having somebody take loss after loss after loss only to throw them in a world championship match. I think that's bullshit. This is everything that needs to be done. It looks like it's going to be done right based on what we're seeing so far.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're hitting us with good surprises.
Yeah.
Right? They're giving us a quality matches. It's something that I find really interesting, too, because Cody's belt says Attitude Killer. But this pay-per-view felt very Attitude Era-esque. It was very brutal. It was very violent. There was a lot of blood. There was a lot of fuck yous, and there was a lot of just off the cuff going with what's happening. And I just think it's kind of ironic that Cody's belt said Attitude Killer, and he's even come out and said, I want to kill the Attitude Era. But like you're recreating the Attitude Era with what you just did.
But I think to his point, is that maybe they're redoing it right in the way that it should, not even the way it should have been, because it was an incredible era and I have a ton of respect for it. But they saw what was happening behind the curtain, and they knew more of what the audience knew. So more than what the audience knew, excuse me. So I think maybe even what he meant was, I'm going to kill the Attitude Era and redo it now, do what I want now. And fit it to this generation.
Right.
Like I almost feel like it was his way of saying, this is what the Attitude Era could have been if you had Cody Rhodes. You know what I'm saying?
Or at least
Absolutely.
like the modern kind of thought for it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And we'll talk about this too, because we gotta start getting to this. Johnny Moxley at the end. What the fuck?
God damn it. God fucking damn it. Dude got the pop of the night. Like, the last 4 minutes of the show, and the man gets the biggest pop of the fucking night. I'm sorry, but that pop was bigger than Cody hitting that throne.
Oh, yeah. Real talk. And you know what? He made an impression, too. He came in, and I don't know what he's going to call it here. Maybe he'll still call it Dirty Deeds, but he Dirty Deeds everybody. And then he went after Kenny.
Even the ref.
Yep. Oh, my God. It was great.
I love how he came out and he still had that like slithery feel to him where it's just like he looks at you and he's just like, you're like, fuck. You're like a deer in the headlights when he makes eye contact with you. And that was literally Jericho's reaction. He's just like, what the hell are you doing here?
Right.
I mean,
great.
So many. And it's crazy because I felt something big coming. I knew there was going to be some sort of big surprise at the end after Diamond Dallas Page came out, after Bret Hart came out. Like there was a ton of WWE appearances from people that weren't even wrestling last night. So it was like, there has to be something big. And I was wearing a Shield shirt and I was like, I couldn't find anything close because I don't have a Jay White shirt yet because the one I want from Hot Topic is constantly sold out. And I don't really have any New Japan shirts or anything other than WWE shirts. So I'm like, I guess the only thing I had on top of everything was a Shield shirt. And I was like, let me just wear this, whatever. And everybody else, I was talking to JK and I was like, yeah, this is all I had. And he's like, but if at the end of the night, Jon Moxley comes out, you're wearing the right shirt. And it was awesome. I launched out of my chair. I was so excited.
And
we all did. We all lost our shit when he came out. And what I love too is the fact that they even did another fuck you to WWE and they were like, you're going to come out through the crowd.
Yes.
Like that was like the icing on the cake. It's like not only did we steal your boy, but we're gonna steal the entrance too and have him come through the crowd.
The one
bomb.
I don't know if this was an FU, but I'm just wondering if him hitting an attitude adjustment to Kenny Omega off the poker chips was a thing, or if it was just that's really the only way to get somebody down 15, 20 feet off of the poker chips. I don't know. I'm willing to say that wasn't a shot, but that was also pretty cool. But you could tell that he was really in his element. He's excited. he's now unleashed, and I can't wait to see what he does. And it doesn't seem like, oh, now they're going to give him a title shot just because he came through the crowd. He's going to have to do it just like everybody else. But you could tell now he's got that renewed energy, he's got that renewed fire, and he's fucking ready to go.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's okay
all
with
I
that.
know, oh yeah, and absolutely, and all I know is what I think we're gonna see from this, because obviously we got Jericho going for the World Championship match with Hangman Page. We're gonna get a feud between Omega and Moxley,
Oh, shit.
God,
that'd
I
be great.
and I think that's going to be the best fucking feud that they ever give us to kick off this revolution of wrestling, is what I'm gonna call
absolutely.
it. Because goddamn, they just changed the game last night.
Oh, yeah. I want to highlight something real quick, too. And this is going to get severely overlooked. So I'm going to make sure that it fucking doesn't. MJF is going to be one of the big players for AEW. Listen, when he came out after they were starting to announce the AEW Heavyweight Championship, and he was just healing on the crowd. Everything that you've seen in the Being the Elite segments on YouTube, he's an amazing talker. He is great. And I think this is like what you guys were talking about a little bit. Like, they're doing the Attitude Era continuation right. You have a guy like that. He didn't say anything that was super dicey. He didn't say anything that was offensive. But what he did say was stuff that would get the crowd going, riled them up, and pissed a lot of people off. He even made fun of somebody running in on Bret Hart, which was fucking amazing. He is the best talker of that night outside of like Jericho. And I think a lot of people are going to overlook it because of a lot of the WWE people, because of the Throne Destroy. I think they're going to overlook MJF. But I don't want anyone sleeping on this guy. His in-ring stuff
honestly,
is great, but he's got to...
Facts.
I forget which one of you guys said this. Or no, Maverick, you were saying that someone said this on Twitter. This is basically
Deadass
what
Girls podcast.
Deadass Girls, yeah, so shout out to them. This is what EC3 should have been in WWE. And again, not a slight to WWE, but EC3 has this kind of talking. EC3 is this kind of character. But you let MJF go, and he did this. Fuck, man.
Yo, honestly though, MJF reminds me of a heel Rock.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I can see it.
Like flashy, comes out with the nice dress clothes, but talks hellish shit to everybody. Like that was the vibe I was picking up from him last night. Like he's gonna be that real heel staple in this company, because I don't think anybody else has come out and got on the mic and laid it down the way he did.
And I gotta say too, when you saw him do that douchebaggy smile too, I don't know if that's his natural face. If it is, I forgive him for that. But just like it was like the most dickheady smile, like the person that ate the last slice of pizza, the guy who took like $14 from your wallet, knows that you know it, and just smiles about it and walks out of your house. Like you were just like, oh my God, you're such an asshole. And Adam Page threw him out of the ring to win the Battle Royal at the beginning. So you could tell that he's a heater and he loves his role. Damn.
Oh yeah, and I think we're gonna see a few different feuds stem from that, because we saw Jimmy Havoc and Jungle Boy come out and get involved in that whole segment, which I thought was fucking great. Jimmy Havoc looks like a fucking beast.
Hell yeah.
Like holy crap, scary as fuck with that mask. Yeah, I feel like they really set the stage so well to give us so much more to look forward to with the next coming pay-per-views that they have set up, and then with the fall launch on TNT. Like we got a crazy next couple of months headed for us.
Hell yeah.
I really don't think that he's going to be lost, because I think the whole point of AEW is to bring shine to everyone and not let people get lost. And if they do get lost, or they start having little, hiccups, or they're not on the show that much, that they have the freedom to go to Impact or Ring of Honor or New Japan. Or it's not about locking them down and putting them in these contracts for years and years to say it's a non-disclosure. You can't go to anyone else. And even after you leave, it's a 90-day, you can't 90-day hold on you and your talent, holding you from going anywhere else, like a company like WWE does, where they just want to hoard and hoard and hoard and not give people the freedom to do what they love and what they were born to do, which is wrestle and keep up their craft, show the world what they can do, actually get out there in different circuits, in different storylines, as different characters, and prove themselves. I mean, that's AEW has it fucking right. God, I can't get over how great they are.
I think Jon Moxley set a huge precedent going forward here, because he's the first wrestler that we've seen in this era let his contract expire so he wasn't held down by that 90-day no compete rule.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more superstars not re-signing, not extending, and just letting it ride out. And then we're going to see a lot of surprise appearances in AEW. That won't be so much surprises because I feel like we're going to see a lot of it coming now. But this was the start of something really, really big, and I think we're going to see a lot of people look to really get themselves out of these bullshit contracts they're in with WWE right now, because they're not getting the freedom that they need, both in their personal lives and with the creative control that they have or lack thereof. These AEW guys are getting a lot more freedom, and I think that's going to be very, very enticing, as well as all the other benefits that are going to go along with this company.
Oh yeah. And the last thing I want to bring up real quick before we kind of tie it down is the tag team matches that we saw with, SCU, with Lucha Brothers, with fucking the Young Bucks, Kick Out Central, Best Friends. Number one, I loved the Best Friends thing where they hug and then they do the zoom out Okada shot. That's fucking great. But I think with this show, whether it's 6-man, whether it's 2-4 people, whatever the case may be, I think they really showcased that tag team wrestling is going to be important in AEW. Even the 6-man women's match or 6-woman match was great. I think that you have a lot of emphasis on this company saying, you know what, other companies don't highlight the tag division quite as well. Why not? It was a co-main event. You had this 6-man tag with SCU that was phenomenal. You were able to also show the OWE, those Strong Hearts, which they surprised the hell out of me. I haven't seen any real OWE stuff. And they came in like a house of fire. They got a lot of shine, and it's just really cool to see them highlighting the tag team divisions. So to what you were saying, Stoney, I would totally see a lot of tag teams let their contracts expire and move over to AEW from any company, not just WWE.
Mm-hmm. But other companies might not be as, not prepared, but might not be as terrified to lose people. I think once people start doing things like that, letting their contracts expire and leaving, WWE is going to start sweating. And it's going to get, I think, everyone made a good point last night. And I think it was even Stoney that said, I'm sorry, Stoney was saying they're probably going to, I think a couple of us were saying that they're going to start using it as a storyline, that Triple H might come out, dethrone Vince, blah, blah, blah. And I think that last night I was a little hesitant, and I was like, I don't know if they would do that on TV. And everyone was saying, well, they have, and they would most likely do it again. And I slept on it, and now I'm like, yeah, Vince just likes content. So anything to get people watching. And just like Stoney said last night, now I want to watch Raw Monday.
Oh, right.
Because how the fuck are they going to respond to this?
Exactly. Either they don't say shit and keep it moving, or they highlight it. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
It's a lose-lose for them, though, regardless. If they say nothing, they try and brush it under the wayside, then it's like, all right, well, you think it doesn't make a big impact, but obviously it does because you're making it a point to not bring it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's if you talk about it, you're just bringing more attention to it. So they lose either way in this situation. They're really fucked unless they do something huge. And I mean, like, Triple H needs to pedigree Vince through a fucking announce table huge, and we never see Vince on television again.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, the best thing for WWE to do to counter is not bring it up, but just make a really good show on Monday that shows, we hear you, we got it, here's the change.
They might do some stupid shit. They really might just fuck it up. Yeah.
You know what's going to happen? Brock's going to cash in on Monday.
Oh, don't.
They're going to be like, oh, fuck, our ratings are going to suck. Brock, go cash in.
You're probably right.
It's
and
crazy.
that makes me
sad. I fucking said it here first, y'all. I said it fucking here first.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. But they do sometimes take our stuff. I'm kidding. No, but
no, you're not kidding, actually. Where's my fucking royalty check, Vince?
Thanks for listening to our review of Double or Nothing on here. We'd love to hear what you guys think. If you guys have any thoughts on it, leave them down in the comments. Check us out over on Podbean, over on the podcast app. We got more stuff coming over here. You got some interviews over here as well. So keep checking in. And I hope you all enjoyed Double or Nothing. And if you didn't, suck it.